You're listening to CreepGeeks Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/CheapGeek. So it begins again. Welcome to the CreepGeeks Podcast. This is episode number 131.
Ghost Nation, Crop Circle Palooza, Winged Cryptids, Paranormal Investigations, and Seeing the Brown Mountain Lights.
Yeah.
Load it.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So here we are again. Welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast. Good to have you here. If today's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's your first time tuning in, this podcast is about what?
Well, CreepGeeks Podcast is an offbeat news podcast that takes a lighthearted approach to the paranormal, cryptid, strange, the silly, and trending tech topics circulating the web, broadcasting paranormal news and fun stories from our underground bunker in the mountains of western North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right. So welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast. Good to have you here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and this is one of these podcasts where we have lots of news and lots of things to say in a short amount of time to do it. Yeah. And I say that because really the time is purely up to us. We can speak for as long as we want because with the powers of the internet, we can do what we want to do.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Anyway. So, this podcast has been around for a very long time. 131 episodes. Right. There's people out there with thousands of podcast episodes. They're like, what? No, anyway, we do appreciate you listening to the podcast and tuning in. A couple different ways you can listen to us. If this is your very first time, like I said, thank you very much and happy birthday. But if you've been listening for a great while, we're going to add a new player to the list of places in which you can hear our dulcet tones of our podcast. And what is that place?
Pandora.
What? Pandora?
Yeah.
So there you go. We're on Pandora now. So for whoever didn't check the application form and just got tired and said, yeah, it's almost my break. Let me go ahead and just approve this so I can go on break. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So there you go. For us, it's like the trifecta or whatever. I wouldn't call it a trifecta. What would you call it? The circle is complete. We're on all the podcast players now.
Ticking every box.
That's right. Check the boxes, tick them out. Here we go. So we're on iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Pandora, like we just said. What
Apple
else?
Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
Google Play Podcast.
Google Play. iTunes, if you still get it that way.
iHeartRadio.
I already said iHeartRadio.
Player FM.
Player FM. Stitcher. All of them.
Yeah.
So we had, yeah. Yeah, basically, if I have forgotten one, no worries, because if your podcast player accepts RSS feeds from podcasts that have been around for a while, then you're going to get us. So it's very nice to, it's cool. It's just, I think it was the last sort of thing because, I got Pandora. I listen to it every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
play some music and that sort of thing. And then they opened up the door for podcasts. And I was like, well, whatever. But here we are. We're going to be on Pandora. And if you're listening to us on Pandora, yay!
Well, I think it's cute because, like, when we did the Spruce Pine, the Space Alien Conference and Expo,
yes.
We mentioned we were a podcast to some people, and they're like, oh, does that mean I need to reinstall Podbean or whatever player? And I'm like, no, we're available through your default playing preferred music thing on whatever phone you have.
Yes.
And, well, I have an iPhone. Open iTunes, open app, open podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
And search. And they spelled it wrong.
What?
Yeah. Like crepe. Like those little silly French pancakes. The crepes. Right? Yeah,
but no, we don't, right now you can find us on any major outlet.
So yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, we appreciate it. We do appreciate people listening and tuning in. the podcast plays and listeners that we have has grown quite a bit since we started doing this, and we do appreciate it. And if you are listening and you would like to take a time to leave a comment, that's great. If you want to take a time to leave a rating, that's even better because it helps small podcasts like us grow. But basically, we do appreciate the support. And for those of you who've been listening to us from way back, way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So,
if you'd like to call the show,
I was going to say, if you'd like to, leave a message or call or contact the show, you can certainly do that. We have a telephone number for you.
That phone number is going to be 575-208-4025.
Yeah, so leave a voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because we're not going to answer.
Yes.
Yeah. And, it's funny because I got 27 voicemails through this phone number. And it was the person saying, one voicemail said, please, and then pick up your phone, all this stuff. It's just like, yeah, okay. And I didn't because, anyway.
It's our voicemail inbox, folks. So leave a message, give us a little bit of detail, tell a story.
Whatever you want to share with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually broadcasting from a bunker in western North Carolina. You think we actually have phone service here? We really don't. That's the whole thing. People think, you guys, and it's like, no, man. We did a video on it.
Yeah.
And the video was, we hoped, because somebody left a voicemail saying, hey, give us a call back, that it panned out to be something exciting. Because not only do we do this paranormal podcast where we talk about like weird, strange news and things like that and funny stuff, we actually investigate stuff too.
Yeah.
We moonlight. We're paranormal investigators. And we do that with M&D Paranormal, and we do cryptid investigations as well. So we're out there trying to experience it. So we're like, man, we got a lead. We jumped in the
excited.
Albino Rhino, our DIY camper van, and we rolled out there and drove, seriously, 9 miles to make a phone call to find out somebody wanted to sell us business cards. And then we had to drive back 9 miles to go home. And that's the best part of the entire video is the video that we put up on our YouTube channel, which there's links to all this in the show notes. It's just us driving home for 9 miles. Like, the video is like 2 minutes of us not having a lead, and then about 9 minutes of us just driving home.
And trying to chase down the lead, because it wasn't like they exactly gave us a lot of info.
And they never called us back. And we actually returned our call. And I was like, well, you just got checked off my list because I got 2 words for you. Vistaprint is going to take care of all our printing needs, and they're not even a sponsor. If you're listening, Vistaprint.
Wink, wink.
We would like business cards again because we were running out. But yeah, so it's a thing. So we do appreciate it. And actually, if you do want to support the show, there's a way you can do that. And it's really pretty easy to do. It has little to no effort on your part. Won't cost you anything at all. And it goes like this. When you shop at Amazon.com, if you use our affiliate link, we'll get a small percentage. And like I said, it doesn't change your price, right? It helps us keeps the coffee flowing in our Albino Rhino, which is our investigation machine, or as the kids in the neighborhood say, you mean that Ghostbuster van?
It keeps the gas flowing in it, not the coffee.
No, hey, look, gas is one thing. Coffee is just as important. It keeps the coffee flowing, man, because when I drive, what do I drink? Coffee. And you wouldn't know that because a lot of times you're over there trying to take a nap. It's just not fair.
Being a paranormal investigator is exhausting.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I got to drive it. Eyes burning. It's like, man, driving's hard.
But that affiliate link is going to be Amazon.com/shop/CheapGeek.
Yes. And Cheap Geek is our other YouTube channel where we post DIYs, product reviews, how-tos, that sort of thing, and all of our videos that we do for the CreepGeeks channel. Actual videos are going to be done and then put up on the Cheap Geek channel under our Weird Wednesday playlist. Mm-hmm. Because they actually get more views and they're monetized.
Yeah.
So, because, I mean, we're content creators. So the goal really is to, not have to pay for coffee. If we, in other words, to be able to actually, to be able to pay for coffee is really what it boils down to.
And,
so.
Yeah. And pay, and find the best way to reach more people.
Yeah. Augment costs. So that's just kind of one of those things. So there you go. So if you'd like to help us out, you want to support us in the easiest way possible, if you use that link Amazon.com/shop/CheapGeek, and you buy something like a toaster oven, you hook us up. Doesn't change your price, and it's pretty easy to do. And people are doing it. And for those people that do it, and if you're listening right now, hey, we appreciate it.
Thank you. And
it is very, very, very nice.
If you can't remember that, just remember it'll be in the show notes. Yeah. So when you listen to this podcast and you go through show notes, just scroll and click on that link.
Yeah. Or if you're listening to us on Facebook, or if you're part of the CreepGeeks Facebook group or the CreepGeeks Facebook page, it'll be there. So whenever we post a podcast, it shows up there as well. So. And on CreepGeek.com, which is our website. Mm. And there is a contact form on CreepGeek.com if you'd like to...
CreepGeeks.com.
CreepGeeks.com if you'd like to scroll out or type out a Turbo Pekka message.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now that we've got that done, so tired. We like to start off each podcast, aside from wishing people happy birthdays, with an interesting random factoid. And since we're broadcasting from a bunker in western North Carolina, today's interesting random factoid is...
Hold on, it's loading.
Oh, I'm sorry. we have satellite internet.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that Elon Musk has put 60 satellites in orbit, or 30 or whatever it is, to try to blast high-speed internet to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Although I don't know if I like adding that much extra junk into the space area. I don't know. See, with space, right, you have different areas above the atmosphere and below the atmosphere where satellites hang out. So I'm not exactly sure where they are, these communication satellites that he put up there. And so far, they're still in contact with all of them, with the exception of 3.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. As long as they don't hit us.
Yeah.
or this turns into another dinosaur event.
Okay, so our interesting random factoid, though. Because we are in western North Carolina, and because I'm kind of on a food kick right now...
Well, what is this supposed to mean? I'm on a food kick, I enjoy the eating. I do.
Well,
I'm a big fan of eating food.
The past 3 times we've gone grocery shopping, I've insisted that we get these. Sweet potatoes.
Ah.
Yes, and did you know...
Delicious sweet potato.
North Carolina is the largest producer of sweet potatoes in the entire country.
Really?
Yes. There has even been a petition to make the sweet potato the official state vegetable. Which
well, there you go. I did not know that.
I think is pretty awesome. And if you go to the link in the show notes, it'll actually show you a map of all the major areas that sweet potatoes are grown in North Carolina. And it's like 50% of the counties in North Carolina have a strong agricultural presence that depends on sweet potatoes.
Nice.
Yeah. Nearly 30,000 acres more than states like California, Louisiana, and Mississippi combined. So
take that.
Yeah. So that's 95,000 acres total, which means they have 30,000 more than those 3 states combined. That's how many acres they devote to sweet potatoes.
And North Carolina has that delicious orange soil in a lot of places. And did you know that that's where the color of the sweet potato comes from?
No.
I didn't either. I'm making that up.
Are you?
So, yeah, so that's like per 100 pounds, man.
Oh, wow.
That is a lot of sweet potatoes.
Yes.
Number 1.
That's great.
And it says, basically, North Carolina has ranked as the number 1 sweet potato because its hot, moist climate, rich, fertile soil is ideal for cultivating sweet potatoes.
Nearly 60% of the U.S. supply of sweet potatoes.
You think they would be less expensive here.
And they're not. In fact, they're the same price that they are in New Mexico.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
Does New Mexico grow sweet potatoes?
Actually, they can. It's not a major crop, though.
I don't think anything is a major crop except for maybe chilies.
Green chili, yeah.
Yeah.
Pistachios are.
Pistachios?
Yeah, pistachios and green chili.
And green chili.
And olives.
And olives, like Mediterranean junk.
Yeah.
Like rosemary.
But as far as North Carolina, it's that sweet potato. And it's a good thing because I've been on a sweet potato kick. I've been trying to eat them a couple times a week.
Yeah, they're super tasty.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, there you go. That's something new. In case you knew or didn't know, now you do, that sweet potatoes are really probably produced. The ones that you've ate recently are probably come from North Carolina because the largest producer of sweet potatoes in the world.
Well, I'm on
or the nation.
Ghosts and sweet potatoes kick right now.
Yeah. It's the only thing I don't really like about sweet potatoes is like if you try to make them up like French fries, you have like 30 seconds to eat it as a French fry for it to stay crispy. Other than that, it just turns into a mush kind of a thing.
But that's because we should probably invest in a deep fryer.
No, even when they're deep fried and you get them from somewhere that deep fries them, they still turn into mush like relatively quickly.
But see,
I'm not complaining.
Yeah. I would disagree. I'd say part of that is because of the place
this is America, and freedom intensifies as we get closer to the 4th of July, and you can basically disagree all you want. It's completely fine.
I just think it's the places that we've ordered them from aren't doing due diligence to the sweet potato.
Or not doing the job.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because we've had some crispy ones, so.
When?
New Mexico, so.
That's because they're pretty dried out. There's no humidity in New Mexico. It's very, very minimal to speak of. So, yeah. All right. So, in this podcast, we like to basically support the small business person, the local business person. We try to buy local whenever we can, as long as it's not too expensive or an inconvenience. That's some straight up honesty right there. Because everybody's like, buy local, support local. And it's like, we try, man. But, I'm not going to pay $3 for your sweet potato when I don't have $3 to spend on a sweet potato. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just something. So, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play a commercial. And this is a commercial from our friend Bobby B. And he's going to tell you about an upcoming event that he does. He does these monthly, and every once in a while he'll give us a holler and say, hey.
Right here in Western North Carolina.
And he's a pretty interesting cat. So, we like Bobby. He's been on the podcast a couple different times. So, we're going to go ahead and take him a second and throw him out there so he can give you an idea what he's all about. So, we're going to take a second to do that. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Bobby B. from the Asheville Past Lives Project. I'd like to invite all of you CreepGeeks listeners to my next monthly meetup. Monday, July 1st, 6:30 p.m. at the community room at the West Asheville Library, 942 Hayward Road in beautiful West Asheville. The Past Lives Project meetup is where people interested in past lives connect, where the curious meet the experienced. We've been doing group past life mini dives for the past year with great success. If you'd like to invest 2 hours investigating some of those stories from your past that echo into your present life, here's a great place to start. Admission is free, but donations are gratefully accepted. Monday, July 1st, 6:30 p.m. at the West Asheville Library. You can go to meetup.com and search for the Asheville Past Lives Project or email me at bobbyb@pastlivesproject.org. Thanks to Omi and Greg for keeping it creepily geeky.
That's nice. Very, very nice. All right, and we're back. Yeah, it's cool if you get a chance and you're out in the Asheville area. If you're in North Carolina and you're in this region and you want to check it out, you should. It's a fun time. You get to it's an experience that I think is worth having. So, and you never know, and it's not crazy or weird, See, because when you talk about like past lives and stuff, I think of past lives regression, where you like have to go and be like hypnotized and all this crazy stuff, and it's not like that. Evidently, that doesn't have to happen, and we've experienced it. With a presentation that he did, we went to, and it was pretty interesting. So it was worth going to. Definitely enjoyed it. So, yeah. Speaking of enjoy, once upon a time there was a show that kind of came out that made ghost hunting and paranormal investigation stuff more mainstream. Remember that show?
Yes, I do.
What was that show called?
Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, and we watched it, and it was funny because you had Ghost Hunters, which had. Anyway, let's do it like this. You had Ghost Hunters, and you had the other ghost show with Zach Baggins. What was that called? Ghost Adventures?
Ghost Adventures.
And they were like the exact opposite show.
And then you also had Paranormal State.
Well, there was a bunch of them.
But there was like
the two
3 that
ones.
Came out at the time.
Well, there was probably more than that. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And, the one with Zach Baggins and those guys, Zach Baggins, Aaron, and Nick at the time, they were out there. They were like extreme ghost hunting, right? Yelling and running around.
Reaction.
And then, reaction. It's like, oh. And then the other side of that, you had the other show, which was called what again?
Paranormal State? Mm-mm. Or Ghost Hunters?
Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Where, these people worked 9-to-5 jobs. They had forms and paperwork to fill out. They wanted the investigation done a certain way. they were all organized about it, and it was kind of, like, okay. So it was kind of like you had a bunch of guys running around being all crazy, and then you had some adults doing a podcast, the ghost hunting show, right?
And that was the part that I like, because I remember in the first season there was an episode where somebody pretty much had to stay behind because they got a call for a job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they were nice enough during the episode to kind of, oh, look, he's dealing with this.
Yeah. These guys, I think they actually wound up owning their own business, the Roto-Rooter or whatever it was, business or franchise. So they were like, doing it. Right?
Yeah.
And so, and there was there was a couple of different instances where it was like, some equipment wasn't brought. So somebody got like a little chewed out, so it was kind of like they treated it like a job.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be professional with it, and they wanted to do things a certain way. And you got to respect that. And the other show was a little crazy, and they were running around doing their own thing. So you got both sides of this whole thing with those two shows, right?
Yeah.
And it was on for a while. I don't really know. It was on for years, and then it kind of went away, and it turned into like Ghost Hunters International and all this other stuff. And I'll be honest with you, we kind of stopped watching once we stopped paying for cable, because we've been cable free since 2008.
And even then, though, because we would get, I guess, Ghost Hunters International on Hulu. And it was just, it didn't embody that same, let's watch real adults try to juggle their dream as well as their 9 to 5.
Yeah, and we also wound up getting the Ghost Adventures on Hulu as well. But so the show is back. It's not called whatever it was called.
Ghost Hunters.
It's now going to be called Ghost Hunters.
No, it's going to be called Ghost Nation.
Ghost Nation, that's what I said. Right? And so it kind of came as a surprise, because it seems like out of the blue, there's like a bunch of shows now all of a sudden that were out for a while and then went away, and now they're back again. You know, it's like, wow, there's like a whole bunch of shows coming up. So this one is the most popular, I think, so far, which is kind of why we're talking about it. And this article we looked at from Bloody Disgusting says, okay, so the mega popular series Ghost Hunters may be no more, but the Travel Channel just announced today that stars Jason Hawes, Dave Tango, Steve Gonzalez, and going to be, anyway, those guys are going to be brought back to a show called Ghost Nation. Mm-hmm. So, each week they're going to rally their troops, and they're going to try to find the most intriguing cases that can benefit from their experience. Mm-hmm. And armed with state-of-the-art technology, they're going to attempt to uncover paranormal evidence like never before.
And the cool thing about
while also debunking the false claims.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why that show ended, was it started to get to the point where people were like, hey!
Yeah. And the cool thing about this one, though, is when Ghost Hunters first started off, they stuck pretty close to home, and they stuck with their region. Occasionally, they'd get called out to areas past, their stomping grounds. Yeah. But it's Ghost Nation for a reason. They're going to go across country for a lot of this. So I'm like, okay, I'm excited to see their opinion of certain things outside of where they used to do a lot of their investigations.
Yeah. Well, and here's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
There's also a Ghost Hunters returning back to A&E in August, right?
Yeah.
And the reboot series is going to have Grant Wilson.
Oh.
See, so with the first Ghost Hunters, you had Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson.
Yeah.
They were together. They were doing the thing, and then something happened or whatever, and they split apart. And I don't really know, and I'm sure there's people that follow this kind of thing, and they're like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. And you're right, we don't. We watched the show. It's about as far as it went. Mm-hmm. So what's going on here? We got Ghost Hunters, right?
Yeah.
And Ghost Nation.
Oh.
So what is it? Pick your poison? Which one do you want? Do you want Grant or do you want Jason? It's kind of hard, right? If you've been a big fan of this show and you follow, it's like, what did they get divorced and now you got to pick which parent you want to go, like, hang out with?
Who am I going to spend Thanksgiving with?
Who's the fun dad? I don't want to go with mom. Jason mom is mean, and Grant party dad is. So which one is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
See, that's why I'm slightly confused, right?
Yeah.
So. And this is also on Bloody Disgusting. It says, Ghost Hunters is returning to A&E in August with reboot series starring Grant Wilson. And I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, okay. And the only one I know is Grant Wilson.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing, though. We kind of stopped watching these ghost shows because, I don't know, they were exciting for a while, and they sort of got over it, and we had other stuff that we, put our time to.
I mean...
But they got people, I guess, that they have... These people are coming into the shows, right? But so they're coming off Ghost Hunters to remake Ghost Hunters. And this network, A&E, has also done the other shows that we were talking about. Amerihead there's like so many shows. Mm-hmm. They're bringing back some of the shows. Okay, so you've got Psychic Kids, Celebrity Ghost Stories, Trey the Texas Medium, and World's Biggest Ghost Hunt.
Huh.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
And the article talks about, it says 15 years after introducing the world, right, to the field of authentic paranormal investigation, Ghost Hunters returns to television Wednesday, August 21st. Right? And the series that terrified and captivated fans for 11 seasons will follow one of the original team leaders, Grant Wilson, and his hand-picked group of professional ghost hunters as they use their decades of field experience to investigate hauntings across the country, engaging in forensic experts, historical records, and the most innovative technology available. The new squad will help everyday people who are struggling with the unexplained and supernatural phenomena. Yeah, and the team is committed, I guess, to discovering the truth, to give relief to those plagued by paranormal activity, and they'll follow whatever evidence they uncover wherever it leads. So, and the people that are supposed to be on that show, aside from Grant, are going to be Daryl Marston, Kristen Luman, Brandon Alvis, I don't know, a bunch of people that I've never heard of. So it's like, okay, and they've been greenlit for 20 episodes. So it's kind of like, well, hold on now. Didn't the other show that's coming out kind of say the same thing? Right? So Ghost Hunters is coming back with Grant, and they're like, we're going to use the latest technology possible, and we're going to help people as best we can, and we're going to investigate, right? Mm-hmm. Ghost Nation said the same thing. Right? We're going to use the state-of-the-art technology. We're going to attempt to uncover paranormal evidence like never before, and while also debunking false claims. They're saying the same thing. And so what is the latest and greatest technological evidence or equipment that they're going to use?
I don't know.
EMF detectors. Right?
Yeah.
Probably some camera stuff and IR stuff. Basically the same crap that everybody's been using since the beginning of all this junk.
Maybe the SLS stuff?
Okay. But I mean, what are they going to, what else?
Yeah.
It seems like primarily either it detects EMF or it creates EMF for, energy for these spirits, if you believe in that sort of thing, to pull energy into and do things. But it's all going to be the same thing. So I don't know. So there you go. You get to pick your poison. Do you want Ghost Nation with mom or dad, or do you want Ghost Hunters with mom or dad? It depends on how you look at the person, right? Grant seemed to be a little bit more nice, I guess. Maybe sensitive or not sensitive.
Compassionate?
Yeah, there you go. So that's probably mom, and then you got Jason's probably dad, because he always looked like he was going to yell at you if you didn't cut the grass. So there you go. So you got Ghost Hunters being rebooted with Grant, and then you have Ghost Nation being rebooted with
which is funny that you
Jason.
say that, because I remember Jason being a little hard on Dave Tango when he first joined the team, and now Dave Tango is going to be on Ghost Nation. So it's
really,
so I'm like, but if anybody would like to email us at contact@creepgeeks.com and maybe give us a little blurb as to why there's two separate shows.
If you know.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, the shows were okay. I mean, so
we'll try to find a way.
We'll watch both of them. I mean, there's ways
both,
we can do it. Okay. Like I said, we cut the cable in 2008. So there's a lot of people that are going, "Hey, man, you don't need to pay for cable anymore. You can just stream." You're talking to people who've been doing this for a long time. So we stopped paying the cable bill for a long time now. Mm-hmm. We understand how it works. So I don't want you to think that, they think they're new at this. No. 11 years. Right? 11 years.
It's just...
with no freaking cable. And I've been fine with that. Because we just upped the internet and we streamed everything.
Yeah.
Well, how the tables have turned here in Western North Carolina. It's like we're in the freaking Stone Age. We have satellite TV, which isn't, we don't have the TV part. We just have satellite internet. And you can't stream nothing. So we're like, what are we going to do?
Not only that, but even the newspapers around here, you have to go to a major city like Asheville for the newspapers to write about how North Carolina is a digital wasteland.
Yeah.
And how North Carolina is so far behind broadband technology and providing it as a technology to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to go to a major city to actually read about that.
Let's say Western North Carolina.
Yeah, Western, yeah.
Because, and it's mountainous and stuff, and this probably has a big thing to do with it. But keep pumping them satellites up there, Elon. Maybe I can get faster internets, or maybe my cell phone will work in a house instead of a cornfield that Omi goes to.
Google Fi is trying to expand their stuff as well.
Well, you got to have signal to have Google Fi. You know what I mean? That's the entire problem. And I do appreciate people that try to help us by saying, hey, you should get this device. It'll make your internet super fast. It's like if the signal is almost non-existent and you're basically making an almost non-existent signal faster, it's still not enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People like, my internet's slow. It's like 100 megs or whatever. I'm like, you shut your face. So, yeah, it's like, shut up. But anyway, there you go. So there's 2 shows coming, Ghost Hunters and Ghost Nation. So, we put Ghost Nation in the title to kind of talk about that. And I'll be honest with you, I think that Ghost Nation probably has a better chance because there's a couple... think about it. It's got Jason Hawes, Dave Tango, and Steve Gonsalves in there. It's got 3 of the 5
peeps,
original peeps. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So, and wasn't it like a 4 or 5 man team? It was only a 4-man team, if I remember. They had like other people as well. So why isn't Grant with them? So is that the dirt?
Is that the T?
Is that what it is? That's the dirt, right?
It's the T.
Is it the T? What does that mean? So, I mean, you see what I'm saying? So maybe they don't like him. Or maybe they all got together and fought. I don't know. If you know, let us know.
Yes. Contact at CreepGeeks.com.
That's right. Not scared, though. Not at all. Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing. So anyway, we've talked a long time about that. Mm-hmm. Probably unnecessarily, but, that's what we do. And speaking of fainting, and the reason why I put this in here
is because
we use the internet, and every once in a while it works okay. And when you're playing a YouTube video, right, we just let it go.
Didn't we fall down this rabbit hole the other night?
Last night we fell down this rabbit, night before last. We were looking at some things that led us to. We were watching some documentary episodes that Seth Breedlove does for different things, right? And then we got into this where it talked about Zach Bagans' Paranormal Museum, his haunted museum. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
And I came across this article that said, a woman faints at haunted museum after being touched by a mysterious orb.
Ooh.
And the reason why I put this in here is because I watched a clip or something. We were somewhere where TV was playing or something, and it had this clip of this lady just falling out.
Yeah.
At this, the haunted museum, right? And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I think it was on TMZ or something dumb like that.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the funny thing, because the rabbit hole we fell down was basically for the first week or 2 that this place was open. You expect maybe some influencer videos, but these were like everyday people videos where people were like, yeah, I just got done at this place. Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And for this one, a camera, because that's the other thing, Zach Bagans' haunted museum has cameras everywhere.
Well, yeah, of course.
They run a tight ship, and that's fine.
Well, plus they also use these cameras too if anything spooky or weird happens, because everything in there is supposed to be haunted or affected by something, right?
Yeah, but
so they could,
this camera,
go over the footage.
This camera that was recording inside of Zach Bagans' haunted museum in Las Vegas captured footage of a woman fainting after coming into contact with a mysterious orb of light. The woman was part of a group taking a tour of the museum when all of a sudden an orb of light is seen flying past her. Moments later, she fainted and hit her head on one of the cabinets before sliding down to the floor. Now, Earl Brown, who is the museum's tour guide, explained, a spirit orb, spirits can manifest in the orbs of light. A lot of times when spirits touch you, they can drain your energy, and it can happen quite quickly. When that happens, you literally can go down. Now, Baggins is convinced that what's on the video is an actual spirit. There is, however,
it's not a bug. Can't be a bug. Bugs, it moved way too fast to be a bug.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. Bugs are pretty quick. You ever got one in your mouth? You didn't even see it coming, right?
Stop. Oh, and it's not like this is the Southwest desert where there's bugs.
I mean, there could be any number of reasons why this lady just fell out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, first off, it's Nevada. So maybe she was outside. Maybe she was really hot, went inside, AC, took her out. Who knows? Could have had the flu, dehydrated, could be dizzy or whatever. There's a link to the video if you want to watch that. But the Haunted Museum is supposed to have lots of artifacts that have like a dark history. And we watched some videos where, it's everything from Jack Kevorkian's VW bus where assisted deaths were, to the Divic. So there's all sorts of things like that. And they even had a recent headline where they had to shut down the Devil's Rocking Chair exhibit on the same day that it actually opened because people were being affected negatively by a tremendous amount of paranormal activity surrounding the haunted chair.
Oh, yuck.
So it's like, wow, okay, it's kind of crazy, right? So, and I like this, and this came from Mysterious Universe, who put a little different spin on it. In other words, Zach Baggins just added another piece of furniture with a dark history to his collection at the museum. And it also talks about how he owns the cursed bed from the Love Ranch brothel.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be where NBA star Lamar Odom overdosed, right? And he was married to one of the
Kardashians.
Yeah, Kardashians.
Or engaged or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and Odom claimed that he wasn't using drugs on the night that he overdosed, and he believed that the ghost of Dennis Hoff killed him, or tried to attempted to kill him.
Yeah.
Because Dennis Hoff died in the bed from a heart attack. Dun, 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 right?
Yeah.
So.
But doesn't the Love Ranch brothel, though, have like a history, though, of like paranormal activity? I could have sworn I've read something about that.
Either that or the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
So
he's got a bunch of dark stuff in there, and evidently bad stuff can happen.
I mean, the place has been open since, what, like April-ish or something?
I don't know. I don't know how long it's been open.
But it's funny because they didn't necessarily shut down certain exhibits. They kept them open for a while. Then they made decisions. But I guess the Devil's Rocking Chair had to get closed.
Yeah, they're like, we need to shut this down because people are falling out.
Yeah, so I think
Rocking Chair.
I think it would be an interesting visit. So
yeah, I mean, if we were there, we would go.
Yeah,
I mean, because say what you want about Zach Baggins, he's making the monies. He's doing what he's got to do.
Even if you're not a Ghost Adventures enthusiast or fan or whatever, the exhibit was helped put together by the people who did American Horror Story.
Yeah. So
it's a wonderful aesthetic if you're into horror.
Yeah, that's what people say. I don't even know. Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not.
It's gone around on a few articles that way. So
yeah, I mean, it looks kind of neat, but yeah. So the woman just fell out. She's allegedly got hit by a spirit orb, and it sucked the juice right out of her. So she like fell out and busted her noggin on the cabinet on the way down. So, and I'm sure you have to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
Saying if you fall out or get possessed, that you won't.
Good.
That you won't sue them, And one of the things that I did think was interesting when we watched the video about, or some of the videos about the Haunted Museum, was that there's certain museum pieces that you can go into where they have to warn you.
They have to give you a verbal disclaimer.
Yeah, and like, so are you sure you want to go in there? Because if you go in there, you might feel like chest pain, or you might, get attached or have something attached to you, whatever. So
yeah,
and I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. So that was kind of nutty. Speaking of nutty, guess what's happening in France?
Probably a lot, but what?
Crop circle Palooza.
Really?
Yeah. So there's been a bunch of crop circles start to kind of show up, and I've seen some pictures and stuff, and I really wasn't going to talk about it, but evidently there's more.
Oh.
It's becoming a big thing.
Yeah.
And they're calling it like the circulating culture.
Okay.
So, or circulating ooh la la, right? Mm-hmm. And that's after a couple was found naked in one of those crop circles by a farmer.
Okay.
Yeah. So evidently the count is up to about 6, and there may be many more.
Huh.
Yeah. So one of the groups of people that actually made one of these crop circles, it kind of showed how they did it, and they revealed how they made it.
Yeah.
So and they're not necessarily saying that it's done by extraterrestrials, right?
Yeah.
So, but it just seems like there's been a spate of crop circles pop up in France.
Yeah, and not all of them. Well, I guess the claim has been made to at least one of them by human hands. There aren't people coming up and saying, "Well, I made the other 5, or I made this one, or I made that one." And,
so, I mean, are they man-made, or are they made by extraterrestrials, or whatever? Is it like a deep hoax? Who knows? But it just seems like there's been a lot of crop circles pop up all of a sudden.
Yeah,
there's even a Facebook page where people have like flown over and spotted one. So,
and I'm going to.
And they're pretty neat looking. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
cropcircleconnector.com, which is linked within this article, and it shows some of these photos are really good. Some of them are like, I kind of see what's going on, but wow, these are pretty cool.
So they're calling it Crop Circle Palooza, and that's basically courtesy of Mysterious Universe. So, like it's a big festival of crop circles popping up all over the French countryside. At least 6 of them. And some people got busted for being all naked in one of them. So, nude couple. And according to this, doing the crop circle strut.
Would you stop? That is.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds fairly dirty. As French are. Yeah. Dirty. If you're French and dirty, there you go. If you're not, I apologize. But whatever. So, I don't know. Crop circles pop up every once in a while. And for the most part, I think, my thought on those is that most of them are made by man, if not all of them. But there are some that just seem to pop up as like, there's no physical way, that you could make something that intricate in that short of time.
Exactly.
Unless you had like 200 people all mobilized and highly coordinated and ready to roll, Yeah. Just like one of them, it's like the last way I remember how these things were made where you'd have like a board with a string, and the board would be an exact length, and it'd be, 2 holes drilled at the edges of the board. So one edge has a hole and the other edge has a hole in the board, right? With a string tied through it. So you could hold the string in your hands. And then basically, just kind of like you were standing up on a swing when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
You would just sort of use that board and with your foot on it and gently press over the wheat or cereal or whatever the crop in the field is, right?
Yeah.
And keep pressing it down to give you this nice even spacing to make the designs all intricate. And the way people went into the fields and left the fields, if it was a group of people, is they all went in following each other to make one little trail in. And then they all left the same way. So it looked like there was no way for anybody to get into the field. So there weren't like a bunch of trampled, trails going away from it. So
yeah.
But there are some, it's like there's no way. There's no way that could be that fast. Like there's been cases where crop circles have popped up hours. Like a shot of the field is like, a farmer was out there. Like, yeah, look at my field. And like 2 hours later, there's a huge crop circle. It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
So,
and this is before, the concept of flash mobs,
Yeah.
So it would have had to have been a very, very highly organized.
Yeah. Did you know what the name of the club is? That you have like the Mile High Club?
Yeah. What is it?
Crop Circle Club.
Okay.
Yep. Well, so there's that. Crop Circle Palooza. Which is kind of lame.
Oh.
But that's okay. Guess what?
What?
Giant birds exist.
I figured.
So we talk about giant birds all the time, like thunderbirds and
rock,
pterodactyls,
pterosaurs.
Yep. And what else?
Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls. So, and it seems like a lot of these, anything winged, as far as sightings, whether it's like Mothman or a winged humanoid or a thunderbird
Jersey
or
Devil.
a rock or Jersey Devil or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Or Mothman. It seems like if you're going to hear about that sighting, it comes from one place.
Where?
One website.
Okay.
You don't know where it is?
Sure.
It's from Phantoms and Monsters, right?
Well, yeah.
And so Lon does a good job. He runs the site, and he does. Mr. Strickler there does a wonderful job of categorizing all these, sightings, and there's like Google Maps that you can actually look at. And so we've talked about it in the past, but on Friday, June 28th, 2019, this article caught my eyes as giant birds do exist.
Okay.
So, of course, I'm going to look because I do think that thunderbirds, for example, I'm not talking about the rock or the petrosaur style or, the flying dinosaur style. Just, a thunderbird being effectively a big-ass bird is entirely possible to me. I think that's, something that could exist, right? Mm-hmm. So I jumped in here and read this, and the article goes, giant birds do exist, and having seen and heard one myself, I was deer hunting and heard a slow swishing sound for about 3 minutes, and then I saw what looked like a giant white hawk fly over. Oh, wow. With about a 16-foot wingspan, right? And he says, and that's on the conservative side. I've flown RC airplanes and seen different size aircraft, and it is possible to get a fair idea of the size and height from a distance, which I guess if you have enough experience, you could do that sort of thing, and he's also seen like ordinary hawks with as much as a 6-foot wingspan. But the bird he described was absolutely huge and likely a freak of nature. And condors have a wingspan of about 10 feet. However, the bird he saw was significantly larger than that. So this guy is savvy enough and more aware enough to understand that condors, because he's mentioning it in his own... Well, I think this is Lon. Oh, okay. Yeah, Lon mentions it. Yeah. I mean, but it's mentioned. Or somebody mentions it, yeah. I think because of the quotations there. Yeah. But, I mean, this experience mentions and acknowledges the bird with the largest wingspan, the condor, So I find more legitimacy in this account. I mean, this dude seems pretty credible, you know? It kind of reminds me of the guy who was like on a cruise ship in Puerto Rico. Oh, yeah. You see the two thunderbirds above the storm clouds. Like, I know what I freaking saw, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? He was all angry about stuff, and he was oddly specific. But then what if he's right? What if, some of these large bird sightings are the occasional genetic fluke? I mean, yeah, that's entirely possible, sure. I mean... And would that count as a thunderbird? Sure. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't change it. I mean, it would still be, okay, so if you have an instance where all of a sudden out of a normal species of birds, you have one big mutant giant bird, that's still a big-ass bird to me, man. That's still, I mean, what if that's what people see? But I don't know. I mean, that could be an outlier or a one-off situation type thing, but... And that's my thing. But thunderbirds have been sighted for so long that I don't think that'd be the case for actual thunderbirds. Well, okay, so if I were to use the human race as an example, the human race, we have all sorts of different types of genetic flukes and things absolutely. That happen. As a matter of fact, we actually went down that rabbit hole with this, like, the giant families of the... What was that called? Where it's like seven... the entire family was like all over 7 foot tall. If we can use the giant, the giant family special that we started to watch the other night as an example. And that was going across America just to find the handful of giant living people right now. Why doesn't that happen in other species? Or why haven't we considered that happening in other species of creatures? Because I think the sightings are too much. Okay. Too plentiful. I don't know. I think the sighting... amounts kind of match. I mean, like I said, that show... I don't believe you. I don't think that they're just big because that show birds. Had, 10 tall people on it? Yeah, and something like that. How many tall people are in America, or how many regular people in total are in America? Well... So, if there's giant birds and we only get these encounter reports maybe every other week, maybe every couple weeks, then that kind of lines up with, ratios. No. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying, no, I don't want to believe that. Okay. Yeah. I like the idea of thunderbirds. And, why not? Well, I mean, sure, it's possible, I suppose. But I don't think so. Now, this next one, it's not a thunderbird. It's not a thunderbird. How do you know it's not a thunderbird? Well, because I'm looking at the description here. This, again, is from Phantoms and Monsters. The winged cryptid? Yeah. This is a winged cryptid observed in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. A winged cryptid? Yeah. And the image, to me, is bat-like, Yeah, I don't necessarily know if that's what it was supposed to look like per se, but that's what I clicked on. Like, ooh, look at that thing. It looked like something like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, like flying like an actual Batman or a man bat, if you will.
And this is an original statement by email from someone on the Phantoms and Monsters 14 research team. And it was, I was wondering if you had heard anything about Mothman in the Shippensburg area.
Yeah, and that's close to what, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Or it's in Pennsylvania?
It's in Pennsylvania. And approximately 2 weeks ago, week of June 10th, 2019, my sister was leaving for work around 4:45, 5 a.m., She said she saw a very large black winged creature fly over her car. She said she could see claws clearly on it. She doesn't know I am asking this. She worries what people would say. And then further information from the witness's brother. The 3 to 4 feet body, wingspan of 5 to 6 feet. The body was long and lean, claws on the back legs, not a bird-shaped body. Doesn't think that it had feathers. She said the face was bat-like, flew very fast. She is a bird watcher, so she's savvy. She knows about cranes, hawks, and owls, and look what they look like. She said it reminded her of a crane, but it was not a crane. Location was the intersection of Route 11 and Conestoga Drive in Shippensburg.
I wonder if this is a baby cryptid.
Because 3 to 4 foot body.
Yeah, 5 foot wingspan. I mean, we're sitting right now at a 6 foot table, so the wings would be about as big as this table, and the body would be relatively short. You know what I mean?
Flying fox almost,
or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's about
what
the
if this
size.
is just like a small, or maybe a baby cryptid?
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's just a big ass bat.
Well, that's why I said flying fox, because those things are.
I mean, they can get pretty big, which would be a big. So, I mean, what's the likelihood of there being a baby cryptid sighting for something like that? I don't know. But I mean, still, if I was seeing something, that would still scare the crap out of me if you seen like a batless 6 foot wing, because that's pretty big for a bat, especially if the body's 3 to 4 feet.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up the stats.
It had claws on the back of its legs and did not have a bird shaped body.
Yeah.
And no feathers. Are you looking up like big giant bat?
Okay, so flying foxes, the largest flying fox
It's like
has
18 inches.
Longest forearm length and wingspan. 4 foot 11 inches.
Really?
Yeah, and can weigh up to 2.4 pounds.
Yeah, but I mean, how big will the body be? The body is usually much smaller factor.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the actual size of the body. I'm seeing the weight, though. So, yeah.
That's not a lot. And, I don't know.
Yeah. And, that goes back to the whole, what did they actually see? Perception, judging size and stuff like that. But when I've watched, like, the videos, because flying foxes, it's funny, usually it's like something in like South America or Australia or something like that. They look pretty big, and because somebody's like got them on their forearm.
Yeah, but they're not 5 to 6 feet.
Yeah,
long,
they're not.
Wingspan 3 to 4 foot body, and
But
this lady who's seen it is a bird watcher, so she would know. I would think. So when she said it reminded her of a crane, it's probably how it flew.
Yeah,
because cranes fly kind of strange, when they first get going. But and she's seen the claws.
Yeah. Because this
big ass bat.
Flying foxes are apparently just bigger than our paranormal pepper. As far as the dimensions.
Well, that's not very big at all. This would be way, way bigger. Very nice. Isn't that kind of crazy, though?
Yeah.
So I would like to think that maybe it's a baby cryptid. Know what I mean?
Well, it is spring, so a lot of winged creatures are kind of kicking their babies out of the nest.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or it's now officially summer.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of summer, we're going to take a second and take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. So, don't go anywhere. Know what I mean? Like, keep listening. Are you listening?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm trying to figure out a couple different things before we go to this break. Mm-hmm. Because we have some events that we're going to be doing, and one of them's going to be pretty fun, pretty interesting. And then we need to talk about the Brown Mountain Lights. So we'll figure out what order we're going to do that in just a second. So which one is going to be way more exciting. Which one do you think?
Probably.
Don't give it away.
The goal of M&D Paranormal is to compassionately, knowledgeably, and professionally support and offer paranormal services to those who have been affected by a paranormal experience, including those who have been indirectly affected. Services provided include paranormal investigation, property research, and evidence review of residential, business, and private property locations. Cleansing of these properties are available upon request. No matter the circumstances of the paranormal experience, M&D Paranormal strive to offer a non-judgmental environment to promote education, open communication, and empathy to each individual that chooses to share their experience or come into our service. In achieving this goal, M&D Paranormal is building and bringing together a community of open and like-minded individuals by offering free monthly gatherings and events at the Shop Eclectic, 49 State Street, Marion, North Carolina. Call us anytime at 828-484-1637 or 828-559-2818 or email us at mndparanormal@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we're back. Okay, so we have a couple different things to talk about. One is an upcoming event, and the other is something that we've talked about in the past, but we've actually had a chance to experience ourselves. So I'll leave it up to you. What do you want to talk about first?
Let's do the event first.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
We're good.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to put the whole thing in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We started doing paranormal investigations when we kind of got here into Western North Carolina. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we did our own thing out in New Mexico, but it really wasn't in a group. It was just us going out and finding weird places, and then afterward,
finding out that we just went to like a super haunted location or a location that was like full of UFO sightings.
Yeah, when we get down, you're like, oh wow, so that was possibly Bigfoot yelling at us. Oh, that's great.
Or we just camped in the middle of Skinwalker territory.
Yeah, really. So anyway, we got to so we started doing the paranormal investigation thing, and along with cryptid research, and we're still doing the same thing. We try to find weird places and go see what we can see, right? But this is one place that we've gone back to several different times as part of M&D, right? Paranormal and cryptid research team, right? Mm-hmm. And this is something I think it's unique to us, but it seems to be like a thing that would be exciting, and it's going to be, I think. And that's being able to actually go and investigate a place, right, with a team that actually does it.
Yeah.
And this place is actually pretty cool. It's the Off the Wagon Dueling Piano Bar. It's in Nashville, North Carolina. It's a nice establishment, and every time we've gone, we've experienced things. There's even videos. So if you go to our Cheap Geek YouTube channel and you look for Weird Wednesday, you're going to see some videos and some EVP evidence of just some of the things that we've experienced while we're there. And we have way more video to go through to keep posting up about this place.
So much more.
I mean, every time we've gone, we've experienced something. One of the investigations that we went to had the staff involved, and they were experiencing things. And we also did the interview with the psychic who was there. I
have 30 gig just from that.
Yeah.
To go through.
and been shadow men sighting. There's been some things that have been going down at this place. Right?
Yeah.
And it's neat that you can have the ability to go and experience this too. So there's going to be some paranormal investigations that happen there, but you can actually go on July 2nd, right? Reserve your space, if you will, and go take part of an active, real-life paranormal investigation.
Yeah.
This is not like a ghost tour where you just walk around and somebody tells you about something. It's like, come on in. Here's what we're going to do. Have you ever held a K2 before? Have you ever done this before? This is your job.
Do you know how to... Do you know what we do when we sit in front of a DVR, that type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be explained, and you're going to take part in an active investigation. And it's, I know there's been television shows that do that sort of thing where they'll bring like 25 people down and everybody will talk and do this. This is a little bit more intimate. It's a more intimate atmosphere, and I think it's going to be a good thing. So
plus the venue. I love the venue. So.
Yeah, it's a nice place.
Yeah.
And there's things that we've experienced while we were there, like battery drain in all of our equipment. K2 just sat there pegged out for like 5 minutes, every battery I loaded in this flashlight, which was a couple, it was like 3.
Yeah.
I'd put it in there and it'd just get drained immediately. It's just like stuff like that, killing the power in our cameras all the time.
I had a stationary camera. I was setting up my DJI, and it got moved and then turned off.
Yeah.
Really?
My favorite is I had a video camera going, right, to record us and everything that was going on during an Estes experiment. And the video camera decided to go ahead and take some still images.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm like, okay, so I'm watching the video, still image. Video, still image. It's like there's nobody there but us, and who's touching the camera? Nobody. And the way it works with my particular video camera, in order for you to capture a still image while it's doing the video recording, you have to press that shutter button or the button on the camera and hold it for a second.
So it'll AF or it'll pick up?
No, I mean,
Okay.
if you hold it, it'll override and just capture the screen, but you actually you can't just brush up against it and take a picture. You have to hold it for a good second. So that's why I was like, who's been touching my camera? And then we have another camera that was pointed at that camera because that camera was caught, in the same area because we wanted to make sure we had coverage. Nothing there. I got still images.
Yeah.
And I've had these cameras and I'm familiar with them. And that particular camera has been around for years. That line of camera has been around for years. Never had that to be an issue ever. And I used to talk to people that would call in and ask me about their cameras. So I'm intimately familiar with it. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Batteries getting drained. My favorite, memory cards getting full. Pop up an error message, say, well, memory card full. And you're like, wow, okay. So I've stopped recording. So you swap it out. You put a new memory card in, and it records. Then you get home, and you pop the memory card, in your computer, and you still have 32 gigs left. And if you want to chime in here and go, well, that's because you have a slow memory card. No, I actually know this sort of thing quite well. And, when you're dealing with, memory cards that are class 10 and up and they're writing at 20 megabits a second or even higher, 40 megabits a second, and the camcorder that you have that card stuck in only writes 4 megabits per second. I get all that stuff. We have overbought, and our equipment is overmatched with the specs to make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen. And it's not like you're going to run the buffer up on a memory card that can do, 80 gigs, 80 megs, writing 80 megabytes per second for a camera that only writes 4 megabits per second. Yeah. But anyway, so just errors like that, it's like, and one thing I have found, and this may be a correlation that I'm working on, because this has happened to me in 3 different places.
Yeah.
When I bring a camera that uses a battery, like a larger physical battery, instead of like the 5 volts that a lot of Canon cameras use, like a bigger battery, like one that actually uses like 7.4 volts or even 6.3 volts, like some of the bigger batteries that go on some of the larger SLRs, DSLRs, like in our Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera.
Yeah.
Whenever I fire that camera up and put a battery in it, and you get the cold and the chill and the weather change, like, oh, what's going on here? And then battery drain happens, they hit that camera first.
The ghosties like that one.
I think it's got a bigger pool of energy for them to pull from. So, I don't know. But it should be an experience, and you should be able to go out there and check it out. And it's a nice place. It's in Asheville. You can come down and you can see, the M&D Paranormal Investigation Team.
And hopefully we've kind of soft-sold.
Paranormal and Cryptid Investigation Team, which includes us. Yeah. And, so you're going to be able to see CreepGeeks and you get to walk around, and it's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. It should be super exciting.
And I hope that we've kind of soft-sold this as like a real legitimate event. You're going to be with serious researchers and then nerds like us.
Yeah.
So it's, we're not going to be...
Oh, yeah. You're going to be signing forms, too. So it's not like you're just going to show up and run around all crazy. No, it's legit.
But we're hoping to give you a genuine experience, So this is what it's like ghost hunting.
Basically.
Yeah. And have a good time.
Yeah, because we've had some experiences so far where a couple haven't been happy. Let's just say. And every time we've gone here, it's been a pleasurable sort of,
Yeah.
And some of the clearest EVPs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And granted, part of that is when you use good audio equipment, you can hope to capture a good EVP, but I mean clear.
Gosh, clear.
Yeah. And there's been a couple times where I've heard EVPs with my own ears. Like,
Yeah. I wasn't going to talk about that for me, but that's the weird thing.
And there was one time that we were in a group and we had a recorder going, and we kept hearing this weird whistling noise. And somebody leaned over to me and said, "Do you hear that?" And I was like, "It's my nose." And so my nose was so dry, I was like whistling, and I was trying to make it stop. I'm like, "Man, how are you making this?" And they were like, "Oh, okay." And so that's on audio too, but then right after that was an EVP.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, what was that? It's like, I was like, I didn't want to say it. She's like, "Well, I don't know." And it was like, you know.
Was EVP your nose clearing?
Yeah. And there was one where somebody's like, "I hear breathing." I was like, "Sorry." You can't breathe. People got cold. But it's going to be fun. So you should come out there and check it out. So we have a link. It goes to, if you go to Facebook, if you follow the link and it takes you to Facebook, you can RSVP at the event section if you're going to be there. So come on out and have a good time. So I think it's going to be fun. And maybe you too can experience things like battery drain, memory card getting full,
temperature drop,
batteries just getting sucked out of your flashlight, EVPs, just crazy stuff.
Things moving around in the corner of your eye. Moving around.
Or my favorite, things being misplaced. It's like, I just set this down. Where is it? Oh, it's way over there. How'd it get way over there? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it happens. And there actually is a video on the Cheap Geek YouTube channel where, you know, some physical movement happens and it's caught on video. So as to what I think caused it, I'm not going to say. You can check it out for yourself. So, yeah. It's a relatively short video, so you can kind of check that out. Enough of that. So there you go.
Yay.
But are you excited, though? It's going to be fun. So hopefully we meet some nice, happy, good-smelling people. So I know that's oddly specific, but that's okay. Okay, so the Brown Mountain Lights, right? We've talked about this a couple different times. We've gone out there a couple of different times. We've been trying to figure out. Basically, it's gone from trying to figure out what the what the Brown Mountain Lights are, to just trying to see these stupid things. Because every time we've gone, we haven't seen it. And what makes it so frustrating is that we've talked to people like, see them all the time. Every time I go up there, I see them. And it's like, well, that's not fair.
But then
we go up there, we don't see them at all.
But then we talk to other people who are like, oh, you're going at the wrong time of year.
They're like, oh, yeah, no, you'll never see them now. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to know when you see them and you don't? And some, like locals especially, some will say you'll only see them at this time. Some will say you'll see them whenever you go up there. And some will say if these specific sets of circumstances aren't met, you won't see them.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful you met that couple in Spruce Pine who gave us some tips.
Yeah, they came up and said, hey, we listened to your podcast and we heard and have seen your video that you guys have done on the Brown Mountain Lights, and let me tell you why you didn't see them.
Yeah, thank you.
And dude's like, here's what has to happen, right? And then he started telling me, and his wife said, no, this is what has to happen. So I really listened to her because, I mean, she was into it, right?
Yeah.
The way it worked was, and here's what they said, it has to be hot during the day and then have a pretty good temperature shift at night. In other words, you know, really warm during the day, but then the temperature drops by like 20, 30 degrees at night.
Yeah.
And you'll see them. If you have that in conjunction with it rained earlier in the day or a couple days before, right, so it's still wet, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you'll see them.
Okay.
If it's before a storm and you've had the hot during the day and then a severe temperature change at night, you'll see them. If it's a clear day or clear night and all those conditions are met, you're going to see them. Right?
Yeah.
And so we were like, wow, that's oddly specific. So what we did was we watched the weather. It had been raining for like 4 days straight.
Which is rare here in North Carolina.
No. She's being facetious, right? It's not rare. Rained for 4 days straight. We had a clear day where it was hot during the day, and it was projected to be about 25 to 30 degrees cooler that night and be clear. With a possible storm coming like way later in the evening.
Yeah, and it was funny because the forecast had said going to be in the 90s, low 90s, but by, I want to say 10 p.m., it was supposed to drop down to like 68, actually 65.
Yeah.
So
we went.
Yeah.
And we didn't went where we normally went. We didn't go where we normally go because the road would have been like wet, and it was kind of
treacherous.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It was no problem during the day. It could be a little bumpy, that kind of thing. But
yeah,
at night I didn't want to break our expensive van, right? So we went the other way, which is basically there's pull off. You know, in Morganton, North Carolina, there's 2 pull offs that you can basically pull your car off and look out and hopefully catch a glimpse of the Brown Mountain Lights. So we did. We went. I can't remember the mile marker. We actually talked about it in a previous podcast. I think it's like 117 or something like that, right? And we actually went and we pulled over, and there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So, like, that's great. We're in the right place. Because why else would anybody be there at like 9:30 at night just randomly hanging out?
Yeah.
So we pull over, and we go to try to find a spot where we can see. And we bring all of our video equipment, and our van's packed up and ready. We're in it for the long haul, right? Got the bed made. We got snacks. We're going to stay.
Snacks. Yeah.
Walked up to a group of people, and I said, "Are we too late? Have we missed them?" And these people just gave me this awful stink eye. They're just like, you know, how dare you kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, so these people are not friendly.
Yeah.
And we stood there, and we looked out, and we waited. 5 minutes later, didn't see anything. I'm like, let me go get a camera, right? We surveyed the area.
Yeah.
We were going to get set up. We're walking back to the van, and the way this pull-off was, you have a highway, or I shouldn't say a highway, you have the road. You have a pull-off on the left side, which is the way we came down. So you could look out over a valley on the left. You could cross the road and look over to the opposite side and see mountain and valley as well. So in other words, the road kind of splits these two things, and you can look to the left, you can look to the right. We're walking back to the van, and this lady and her husband, boyfriend, whatever, was like, "Hey, have you seen them?" And we were like, "Nope." And she's like, "Well, they're right here." And we're like, "What?" And we looked, and we had been looking off the wrong side.
So all the people that were there were looking in the wrong direction.
Yes. And the lady was very nice, and she could see these things with her eyes. And she's like, I mean, like, it was really dark. And she's like, "No problem. There's one. Oh, look over there. There's one." And she's pointing them out to us. And, you know, so we real quick get our camera stuff set up. I grab some binoculars, and I'm looking through the binoculars trying to get an idea where I'm going to point the camera. And I'm seeing these things. And Omi is not. Because what were you doing?
I'm trying to get my tripod stabilized, and I'm trying to focus in on these, and they're so quick that by the time I hit that shutter button, they're gone.
Yeah. And, you know, and honestly, from a distance, a couple of them looked like big fireflies. And then, you know, they were obviously not fireflies because the firefly would have to be about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle whizzing around out there.
Yeah.
And
now so the 2 I saw clearly. One was relatively stationary, and it was like a whitish blue.
Right.
And it just kind of hung there in the air just above the trees a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it would dim.
Yep.
And then the other one I saw, because I only saw the tail end of it pretty much, was the one that you and the lady saw. And it was that orangish red.
Yeah, it was whizzing around pretty fast.
And I didn't see that part. What I saw was it almost climbing up the mountain a little bit and then vanished.
Yep.
And I don't know, I couldn't.
And see, I seen it like doing a zigzag down the mountain in the valley.
Yeah.
Like super fast.
And then it climbed back up.
And then it went up and poof, was gone. And I seen about 8 of these things do almost exactly that. A couple were kind of vaporous, but for the most part, they didn't look like a plasma ball, you know.
Yeah.
They looked like they were alive, whatever it was, which made it so weird. So I'm like, well, that's kind of crazy. And they all glue, and, you know, they glowed from within, and it put off the little light and all that stuff. But what I realized is like, okay, cinema camera, multiple DSLRs, GoPro, all these, you know, all these cameras, video cameras that we have, multiple lenses, None of that's going to work.
I think
Cell phone camera, nope, not going to work.
I think I should have brought the 60 though. Maybe.
We could have brought the 6D, which is a 6D Mark II, which is pretty much a full frame entry level DSLR style camera.
Yeah.
But what I realized is that from where we were at that particular vantage point, the distance would be too far, and a wide angle lens would be. You would have to have such a wide angle lens that the depth of field will be decreased, and you're not going to catch. And plus, it's dark, and you're trying to take a picture of, like for example, if somebody took a flashlight and shined it in your face, and you're trying to capture, it's not going to work.
Well, like the two photos
But if you were
I got,
up, though, hold on, if you were like way up the mountain and you were at like Wiseman's View, you'd be looking down on all of that. So whatever lens you're using would have a wider field of view, and chances are you'd capture a better image.
Yeah.
So our particular camera equipment, I think, for the location we were in, not going to work. So I put my stuff up and just used binoculars and was like, this is great. And you did capture a picture or two, but it's really hard to, say, see that little bright little spot, that little pin light of light in this big black field. That is a Brown Mountain light.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looked like.
But guess what? Those were captured on a wide. So
I know, but see, what I'm trying to say is that
useless.
Yes, you can capture an image, but it's absolutely useless because you might as well took a picture of the one star at night, deep in the sky that has no other stars around it, and say that's a Brown Mountain light because there's no detail. You couldn't blow it up big enough. I mean, it's just not going to work with what we had. And it was a little frustrating. However, within 20 minutes of being there and talking to that lady, we seen collectively.
You seen.
I'm going to include you in on it because the effort was made.
Stubborn as I am.
8 of these things. And they looked big. They looked about basketball size, right? Whizzing through the air, even a little bit larger, and even me using binoculars and stuff, which would mean that this thing is huge because we were about 5 miles away seeing these things. And to see a basketball-sized, we'll just call it an orb, for lack of better description, whizzing around out there, being that large, would mean that thing has to be huge, probably as big as this freaking table, which we said earlier was like 6 feet. So 6 feet in diameter, or diameter, if you're trying to spell it. So we seen the Brown Mountain lights, and what that did for me, got to mark that off my bucket list, but got me thinking of how we can capture these for next time, where we need to be placed if we're going to be able to get them at all.
Should we try that other overlook?
Oh, no.
Or the other pullover?
We don't have enough money to waste our time. And by that I mean we don't have enough money in camera equipment to use another view like that where we're effectively sort of level and looking sort of up at these things.
Okay.
We need to be above them.
All right.
So we're going to go to Wiseman's and we're going to look down.
Okay.
Which gives us, like I said, a better field of view, better angle of view, and the possibility of being able to capture with a video camera a better view.
Okay.
Right. And plus, where these things were whizzing around, it was about at the level of Wiseman's views. So they would almost be eyeball level or slightly below you. So it would be worth the effort. And next time we'll just have to get up there when it's not dark so we don't like 4-wheel drive our van and blow it up trying to get up there. Or maybe we'll try to get your truck up there without bottoming out and breaking something.
Yeah.
And do it that way. I like the van because if something scary happens, you can just jump in the van and shut the door. And you can drive over whatever it is. And I do want to employ my theory. I've only told a select few people about my theory. Mm-hmm. And my theory, I'm not going to say what it is, but I do have some test equipment for my theory to figure out what the Brown Mountain lights are. And it does involve a hot dog on a stick. You have forgot my right?
No,
and my theory is this, okay? So if I get a stick, and we'll say a good sturdy stick, right? Not like really thick or anything, but, a stick sturdy enough for me to extend a hot dog, maybe about 8 or 10 to maybe 12 feet at the most out from me, and one of those things goes whizzing by, and if it's close enough, I can take the stick with the hot dog on it and stick it out. And if the Brown Mountain light, or what are these things, whatever you want to call it, an individual Brown Mountain light, hits the stick. Mm-hmm. If the hot dog explodes, it's probably like ball lightning / plasma, right?
Yeah.
So the hot dog will dissipate or disintegrate, and I won't, because that's the whole goal. Because I don't know if I want to touch these things or not, right?
Because we know people are like, I'm going to go up and grab one.
Yeah, and people probably have, and they're probably not here today. It's like a smoldering pair of sneakers, right? So if I extend the hot dog out and the brown mountain light hits it, and maybe it just like lasers half of it, like when the Terminator comes down with the ball and like lasered like half of the garbage truck. If that happens, we know definitely don't touch it, and it's probably not what we think it is. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 instances. Now, if the hot dog gets cooked, right? It goes whizzing through it and it gets cooked and kind of burn up and stuff. We'll know it's exceedingly hot and you don't want to touch it.
Are you going to eat the hot dog?
No. Oh. And then, because we'll probably be out there for hours, and that thing's probably going to be spoiled or something. It's probably going to fall in the dirt. It's like camping. It's not good. So now if I have the hot dog extended on the stick and I stick it out and a brown mountain light goes whizzing by, it hits it, and it just disappears completely or half my stick disappears, then maybe that's a portal of some kind. It's being shifted around by gravitational forces, in that particular area, which would almost go back to the X-Files episode where it seemed like, that was a portal area there, and you could kind of get suspended in time, like the guy walked by, and it sucked him up, and he just stood there and vibrated for a while, and it let him go, and he went and he wound up popping up or something like 4 years later, something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. So if that hot dog disappears that way, then we'll know it's some kind of like portal flying around, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we stick the hot dog out and a brown mountain light goes whizzing by, and the brown mountain light just explodes or it just kind of pops, I don't know what that means, but it'd probably be safe to touch one. So the whole goal is to get some kind of, evidence as to what would happen if you were able to reach out and touch one of these things. Does it explode the hot dog or disintegrate it? Does the hot dog go into a parallel dimension or another dimension or somewhere through a portal, right? Mm-hmm. Does it, is it plasma? Like, well, who knows? See, here's the thing though. If it's some kind of weird thing, like maybe a big, like a plasma ball, and we have the hot dog and it hits the hot dog, what if it explodes and takes out like half the mountain? We'll never know because we won't be here. But, wouldn't that be some news? The last thing I seen was this idiot with a hot dog on a 12-foot stick, and he stabbed this brown mountain light, and it blew off half the mountain. Right? And then maybe we'll be on the radio or something. It's one of those, Darwin stories.
That's our claim to fame.
Yeah. CreepGeeks explode half a mountain with a hot dog. You see what I'm saying? But I don't know. We don't know what these things are. What if it's like basically some kind of electricity, like some kind of ball lightning thing, and it zaps the hot dog? Which I want to make sure that whatever stick I'm using is hopefully non-conductive. Can you imagine getting a crap shocked out of you? So you had to go to the hospital, right? Well, you have a little burn-up hand going on. What happened to you? Well, let me tell you what happened. I got this stick, and I stuck a hot dog on the end of it. And went to Wiseman's view, and I stabbed a brown mountain light, and it shocked the crap out of me.
How is he going to write that up on the medical chart?
Crazy guy smokes meth, burnt hand with electricity, right? It's going to be something dumb like that. So, yeah.
Hopefully it'd be more clinical.
Yeah. Guy does drugs, shocked his hand, sticking a stick in an outlet or something crazy like that. Right?
I would really hope it would be, paranormal investigator finds proof.
No, it'll be, and see, that's why in order to use the hot dog stick method, I can't use a fork on the end of it.
Oh.
Yeah, unless it's a non-conductive fork. I could use a glass fork because the glass would probably not conduct it very well. So.
But if glass exploded, you'd be in some.
But I wouldn't be.
Hurt.
I wouldn't. I'll wear glasses. I'll wear safety glasses.
Okay.
So yeah.
Because science, be safe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Be safe. So, crazy guy smokes meth. He blows himself up. Right. Something dumb like that. So, because that's what they would do. Because the government would probably swoop in and discount and discredit whatever is said.
It wouldn't be hard to discredit a Yahoo with a stick and a hot dog.
Poking a brown mountain light. So anyway, that's about what we're looking at. So, and that's the goal. I'm going to try it. I'm going to have a hot dog on a stick.
Yeah.
See what happens. Yeah. I was also thinking that maybe instead of having a hot dog on a stick, I could take a piece of hot dog and put it on the end of a hook and use a fishing pole and kind of like cast, whip that thing out there at a brown mountain light and see what would happen. More than likely what will happen is that the stick with a hot dog on it will be out and at the ready to poke this brown mountain light if it goes whizzing by close enough, and it'll just move out of the way and keep doing its own thing. At which point I'm thinking, okay, it's probably a big giant-ass lightning bug. Who knows?
Now, if you'd love to email us your illustration of Greg hunting the brown mountain lights, please email us.
And if there's a flaw to my plan that I may be overlooking, I would like for you to let us know. I'm all about, And
that's going to be contact@creepgeeks.com.
Yeah.
But if somebody could do a little illustration of that, that would be adorable.
That would be nice. So, I don't know. But anyway, there you go. This has been episode number 131 of the CreepGeeks Podcast, which is Ghost Nation, Crop Circle Palooza, Winged Cryptids, Paranormal Investigations, and Seeing the Brown Mountain Lights. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know. But that's it for me.
Yep. You can email us again. That's going to be contact@creepgeeks.com. Also, be sure to join our Facebook group or like our Facebook page. That's where you're going to get all the updates about what we're doing, whether it's a paranormal investigation or sticking a hot dog inside of a brown mountain light. Join us. That's where you're going to see all the fun stuff we do.
Yeah.
We also have an Instagram where we'll take pretty pictures of sticking a hot dog inside of a brown mountain light, and that Instagram is also linked in the show notes.
Yeah. So, hey, there you go. Any questions, comments, concerns? There you go. You know how to get a hold of us. But anyway, see you later. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'd swim the ocean, dance with the devil. I'd tell my soul to take you home. Yeah, 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 yeah.